you know, the case law and stuff like that. We also spoke that unfortunately the police officers are not being trained in knowing the Constitution. Um, they're taking the oath to the Constitution, but they don't know what they're taking the oath to. Do you think officers would be better equipped if they were educated more on case law, like you're doing so well and explaining to everybody? And I want everybody to look up what he's talking about. It's very important. The case law is important because that's what sets precedent, guys. Um, do you think officers would be better off if they had more education with this?
Absolutely. I would just say, for instance, so as a special operations lieutenant in PSA 7, which is housing, it's in the confines of the 4-0 and the 4-2 precinct, South Bronx. I would tell you, I had the finest men and women that special operations has to offer in apprehending violent perpetrators and illegal firearms. And the reason why is because the men and women under my command were so embedded in case law, they could cite it in many encounters that we've had that went to the Civilian Complaint Review Board or actually went to trial. You could actually hear my cops on the body camera citing case law and trying to inform. Plenty of times my cops or even myself would say, listen, maybe it was a car stop and someone's getting a little riled up and they're upset and they feel uninformed of the encounter that they're having. We would say, listen, look at your phone right now, go on Google, and we're going to tell you the case law right now. And they would look at it like, wow, okay, now we understand. Because there's a case called Pennsylvania versus Mix. And what that case is, when a police officer pulls over a car for any infraction, the police officer can ask the occupants to step out of the car because the police officer determines that that would be a better tactical reason or approach to do that car stop based on maybe the area where they're located. Maybe it's dark, they can't see in the car. So there's a case law that gives the police officer right. So sometimes when you tell that motorist, hey, listen, the reason why I'm asking you at the car is because there's case law that gives me the right to do this. And when they see that, sometimes it really de-escalates the situation and brings them at ease rather than them feeling that there's some type of abuse of authority. And again, I will say this. Every time you have an encounter with someone, it's always subjective. It's subjective on what the police officer believes, and it's also subjective on what the person being encountered believes. So it takes a lot of art and skill. And that's why my guys were so well at the job, is because I made them read case law till they were blue in the face. The patrol guide is important, but those are administrative procedures. The art to being a police officer is Supreme Court case law.
I love it. I love it, man. So now, would you say that with police officers not knowing like the Constitution well or case law well, like you're saying, like your guys did, right? Your guys and you, but it's not taught generally. Could this be an area where we could have a lot more mistakes because no one knows where the boundaries are, not the person being pulled over, and like we the people don't know it, and the law enforcement are not trained in it? Isn't there like this area where mistakes can happen?
Absolutely. And mistakes did happen, and they still continue to happen. There's always going to be a margin of error, and especially in the New York City Police Department. Unfortunately, back when there was a pushed quota system, I don't know if they're doing it now. I hear they are. But when they were pushing a quota system, which I believe is the fault on the leadership, if you have good leadership, quality leadership, there's no reason for a quota system, right? Good leaders will make sure that when you're encountering potential suspects or persons of interest, that these people have an impact on public safety, that you're not stopping a construction worker or obliging citizen. But excuse me, sorry. But what's important to note is that you understand that you have you've read this case law till you're blue in the face. Why? Because competence brings confidence. And if you're confident in this case law, then you're going to treat the public appropriately. If you're not sure exactly what you're doing, you may not know that you're abusing someone's authority, or you may not know that you have more leeway to be intrusive to make this arrest. So it works on both ends.
Right.
And
right.
I will say this, I don't expect the citizen to have such apt knowledge as the police officer. The police officer is the one that's, actually carrying out the profession. I expect the police officer to have more knowledge.
Enforcing the law enforcement, right? I appreciate you saying that, man. That's why I enjoy talking to you, Eric, man, because
thank you.
You're objective with this.